You'll never guess which failed Democrat is trying to pump up her 2028 prospects. Kamala Harris showing up at a random gas station in North Carolina to make an awkward video sticking it to Trump over high prices. Watch.
Hey everyone, so I'm here in Charlotte. Since the start of Trump's war of choice, it's $15 more every time you fill up your tank of gas. The price of diesel has now gone up 80% since the start of the war. And you best believe that's going to carry over to how much you're paying for all the goods that are being transported on those semis. We've got a president who is paying more attention to what he thinks is in his best political interest and personal interest, as opposed to what is in the best interest of working people in America.
But where was this Kamala 4 years ago when she and Joe Biden were in office and gas prices exploded under their watch?
When America stands for her principles and all of the things that we hold dear, it requires sometimes for us to put ourselves out there in a way that maybe we will incur some cost. And in this situation, that may relate to energy costs. The president did say in the State of the Union, there is a price to pay for democracy. You've got to stand with your friends. Sometimes it's difficult. Often it ain't easy.
Kellyanne, where was that?
Wow. Well, it's so embarrassing anytime she's on the world stage representing our country. Nobody misses that. She looks pretty good in the mask, I have to say. I don't miss her being the second in command. There's a reason she lost all 7 swing states, major Democratic core constituencies of the electorate, and you see it right there. She's not just has a flawed message, she's a terrible messenger. She's very non-credible. What did she and Dougie do last year? Talking about affordability. They went and plunked down $8.15 million, actually earlier this year, January of this year, to buy a mansion in Malibu. I don't begrudge what you do with your money. I don't know who's paying her for her thoughts. Hold the prayers. But I don't begrudge it so much as like her policies brought people to the economic brink. We had 26 consecutive quarters of inflation outpacing wage growth. And she's doing it on a day when people literally can feel the positive impact of Trump's tax cuts and his Jobs Act, the Working Families Tax Relief. It's simpler. 53% of taxpayers say they checked one of those 4 boxes. And people are getting refunds, millions of people claiming those benefits. $100 million in expensing for small businesses that was just sitting there has been restored. And she didn't do any of that. Our economy was terrible when she was vice president. She did nothing to allay our concerns about what she would do as president on affordability when she ran. And the economy, in addition to just her being an odious, offensive messenger on most things, the economy was a big reason that President Trump won in the first place. So she's not good on affordability. I actually think President Trump's going to be able to have a great argument about affordability when all is told come the midterms. Dereg, energy dominance, stability in the Middle East, certainly a tax cut and Jobs Act. People are just starting to see the impact to them of everything that he's been doing.
All right, Jessica, you said you're really excited about this block.
Yeah, definitely compared to the A block, because we just say the same thing every day on that. Kellyanne brings up this tax refund, the $375 on average that you got back, which is compared to the $740 extra dollars that you're going to pay at the pump because of the increase in gas prices. You also said the economy was so terrible under the Biden administration. More jobs were created. GDP growth was better. Donald Trump was elected.
Why did they lose?
What?
Why did they lose?
Because it wasn't good enough. And guess what? Now it's even worse. Donald Trump is over -30 on cost of living, -28 on taxes. And the difference between Kamala Harris talking about the gas prices and the collective burden we all bear to help out our friends is that Americans actually supported what we were doing vis-a-vis the Ukrainians. 71% after the Russian invasion said we should provide weapons. Even today, 69% view the war as important to U.S. interests. That's the Russia-Ukraine war, not the war in Iran right now, which has over 50% disapproval. The other important point to that is that President Biden and Kamala Harris actually got congressional approval for the money that they sent to Ukraine. They didn't just say, I'm going to do what I want. They actually went and they asked people who are elected by us to go into office, what do you think about this? And it was approved. And they were part of a coalition of over 50 countries that sent aid and weapons to the Ukrainians. That's how it's supposed to work. There's
How's
a
that
checks
going?
and
I don't know
balances.
how I know.
It doesn't matter how it's
Doesn't
going. It
matter.
does-
Okay, good.
Trump
What,
That's
and what do you mean?
Ukrainians.
Actually, how it
Tell that
is
to the
going
people in
well?
Kiev who just got bombed.
Well, first of all, there's a strong
We've
argument.
extended this war for
I know,
4 years.
I know you don't care
But now
about it. You should
NATO's
take a
paying
look,
for
by the
it.
way,
But
on
NATO's
what
paying for it.
This
Trump
is
did
funny.
that.
Just,
Trump did that. Wait, I can't believe you're defending Biden and Harris.
I
Most
am,
Democrats don't want to hear from them
absolutely
evermore. So you want her to be the nominee in 2020?
No,
but
but
do you
the
want her to run?
twisting of what I was saying is crazy, Kellyanne. I did not say I want Kamala Harris to be the nominee. I said that the
I do.
argument that you're making against the Biden-Harris administration falls flat when you look at what the Trump
I'm
administration
just going to look
is
at.
doing.
Well, I'm going to look at the fact that Trump got elected on running against the
and what do
Biden-Harris
people think
economy.
of him now? He has a 35% approval rating in most polls.
He's
what do
not
they
a
think?
politician.
Yeah,
He doesn't
he's
care.
governing. He's not campaigning,
Stop
he's
saying that
governing.
he's just the host of The Apprentice who came to save us.
Look,
the guy has been in office
You can't
twice.
think, you can't understand Trump because his political decisions align with his personal and patriotic ones. You understand
ones, like his
Kamala,
own bank
you
account.
understand Gavin, you understand Biden because their political decisions are divorced from the things people want. Why are you on the 20 of every
I'm not.
80-20 issue? Is because you divorced political desires from human needs. And then you have to dress up your decisions as compassion when they're merely wants from an activist class. The thing about Trump is, I don't care whether you like him or hate him, you're suffering from the Trump-America alignment problem. Political, personal, and patriotic desires all stack up, which means what he wants, the country tends to want. If it's 80-20, he's on the 80, you're stuck on the 20.
They wanted the tariffs.
Your defenses are getting more and more narrow because you say, we keep saying the same thing every day. It's because we have to, because you don't listen.
I do. All I hear in my head is your voice.
You know what? You're lucky. This is the
No
voice
Americans
of
wanted
God.
the tariffs. They didn't want the war in Iran.
They would
they don't want
reelect him.
the ballroom.
What do you got?
What do you got?
Look at what you have on your side. It is a
more
clown
jobs,
car
more
of
GDP.
carnival atrocities.
I can't wait for elections.
All right, Jesse, if we talk about numbers here, the average American household got 4.6% of their income thanks to Trump's deregulations and tax differences. So when Kamala talks about the gas prices, why do they have amnesia? Under her watch, Americans suffered economically. Under President Trump's watch, we are thriving. Why is there no accountability for that fact, and why does she not remember it?
I don't know. She drinks too much. Jessica, it's cute when you try to compare Trump and Biden. No one thinks he was a good president. And it's not Trump's fault the prices at the pump went up. It's the gay Ayatollah. He's the one that terrorized the Strait.
Donald Trump
and we just opened the
choose to go
Strait,
into the
Jessica. Yeah. You know why? Because you can't have a nuclear Iran armed to the teeth with intercontinental missiles blackmailing the entire global economy. So as my wife says, sometimes you have to spend to save. And that's what's going to happen. Because right now, she doesn't even realize where she's standing. It says it's $3.97 a gallon. That's still lower than the highs under Joe Biden. And prices are coming down. They're still down after last week's high. We've already seen Donald Trump can move energy prices. He calls the Saudis and they boost production. When Biden called the king, he hung up on him. We just unlocked 1.2 million barrels a day out of Venezuela. The Panicans, like you, said it couldn't be done. It's never going to come online. Well, now we got 1.2 coming out of there. And we have 5 million barrels of oil that we're exporting. That's another record. Besides the S&P, besides the NASDAQ, we're shattering records all over the place, Jessica. It's called energy dominance. We control every single naval chokehold on Earth, box the Chinese in. We've been picking off their proxies one by one. And what did Joe get for all those high prices? What? Did we get a green economy? We got nothing. Where are the windmills?
Well, you say
where are
that
the
they're
solar
killing
panels?
all the birds.
Where are they? You spent trillions of dollars on going green, and it never happened. I'd rather lose an Ayatollah and all those missiles than what we wasted on your project.
Okay. I would just like to say, as someone who went through an election touting the fastest recovery in the G7 and don't believe your lion eyes. Keep going like that, Jesse. Keep telling the average American that
You don't think prices are coming down?
No, I don't.
Oh, really?
No, why?
Oh, really? You think they're going to stay this high?
Maybe not this high, but Scott Bessent was even hedging about it yesterday. He said,
Okay.
hopefully by the end of the summer. Why is the consumer sentiment index the lowest it's ever been in recorded history since
The point is not that Jesse Wards is saying. The point is that Kamala Harris is saying it. And she has no standing to talk about affordability.
But nobody cares about Kamala Harris. They care about what the president is doing and how it's
an entire
affecting
segment
America.
about Kamala Harris because we're funny people. We want to show when she's making a fool out of herself at a gas station in North Carolina.
The jig is up. That's all that it's.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.